Okay, we live, y'all. Hey,
Buenos
y'all.
dias.
Good morning, y'all. They all came in at the same time, it looks like.
I see. Hi, Soapies.
Hopefully, y'all got y'all orange juice, coffee, tea, whatever. I know this not a typical time, but I'm glad you guys have decided to come on in. How many people we got, Brees, right now?
We got 18 right now. They're coming in. They're coming in.
Okay, I'll give it another few seconds, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's going to be an interesting conversation this morning.
Yes, I agree. Especially after I watched Monday's episode, I got a lot of questions for Jack and Diane.
Oh man, to me it looked like they after watching Monday and some of the stuff, they look like they faking to me. I'm sorry, Bree. Do you still
Really?
believe that? You still believe Diane working on her own?
Yes,
Okay,
especially after Monday.
really?
Yeah, I really do. There's only so much acting in the world you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a really funny episode, especially Nikki. I'm like, oh, so you finally realizing
Yeah,
everything about your emotional husband.
I know,
Okay,
right? All right, how many we got in there now?
we got 28.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey, you guys. Welcome to Soap Corner Talk, where I have my, and I'll let you guys introduce yourself individually. It's T, and then who else we got on the line?
We have Bree running her mouth as usual.
J Money. I'm
Mm.
here with y'all this morning.
And, oh, that's right. She stepped away to get some coffee, didn't she? Make some
Mm-hmm.
coffee. We got Keisha on the line with us this morning, y'all. Yay! So we got a full house. Um, uh, in regards to Trish, she's doing okay. She's still trying to, sort things out and process everything. So, we're still sending well wishes to her as well.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
hope everything's okay.
What you say, Bree?
I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, so we're going to be recapping both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for the week of October 21st. We do The Young and the Restless in the first half of the show, and then in the second half of the show, we do The Bold and the Beautiful. We also have segments and one new segment this week that probably is going to be ongoing from this point forward. We have our Flip the Script, Who's Taking a Seat this week, our Star of the Week, Pickle of the Week, and Who Won the Simp Olympics of the Week.
Oh, that's no question this week.
All right, so make sure you guys are hitting the like button. And without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with The Young and the Restless. I'm going to read the summary and then we'll break down the storylines. All right, y'all? All right, y'all?
All right.
Okay, so for Y&R for the week of October 21st, we have Nikki extends an olive branch to Lily, and Billy and Sally share a kiss. Adam's hit piece on Billy gets big reactions, and two unlikely lunchmates compare notes. Phyllis clash with Nick, and Daniel's visit leaves Sharon shattered. Diane moves out of the Abbott house, and Sharon decides that she got something she need to do. And then Diane stuns Nikki and Victor, and Chance tells Daniel that he is under arrest. All right, where y'all want to start at first?
You can go to the top of the week. We can definitely get rid of Billy and Sally because that was,
Yeah, that was easy
I don't know.
peasy. What does y'all think about this? They kissed on Monday. Well, was that Friday? That was Monday. That was Monday. They kissed on Monday, and
Yeah, it
they
was
left.
Monday's episode.
Yeah, they left us with just a cliffhanger, and then we saw them at the coffee house the next time, and that was it. We really didn't see them that much the rest of the week.
No, they were drunk and they kissed, and I personally didn't care for it. And it's about it the following day at the coffee shop. I was just more upset at how he treated us. I honestly did not particularly care for. I'm not sold on them.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think I
not
keep saying that.
interested.
And
I am.
yeah, and I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they was testing the waters to see what type of reaction we get from those two.
Mhm.
I'm not interested in Billy and Sally at all. You know where I stand when it comes to Sally. I kind of want Sally to go back to Bold.
Right.
What you
I agree.
what you think, Jay?
Yeah, I don't. Unless somebody says different in the comments, I don't think anybody is feeling or wanting to see Billy with her. And it sounds like the writers even think the storyline was forgettable, right? Because how do you have that moment and then, like y'all said, you only see like one fleeting moment at the coffee house after that? So I don't know if that's something that they're just gonna get away from,
Mm,
or because I don't know. Like y'all said, it definitely didn't. It didn't really feel like there was any chemistry there, and it feels like forced. Oh, let's put the two people that were hurt by these two people together. Like it's so like generic,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm not really interested in it either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just because they've been doing that trope for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the two people that get cheated on and they end up with each other. It's
They
like
link
it's
up,
played.
yeah.
They done played
Mm-hmm.
that trope out for years, and it's like okay, there was really no build up to these two. I mean, yes, they had conversations, but I only picked up friend vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you had to have alcohol in order for y'all to share a kiss, and even the kiss was awkward to me. You know, I think
Yeah,
I think the best chemistry that Billy had was with Victoria, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Even when Victoria over to try to find company from him, but you can definitely have history.
Wait a minute, Bree, your phone is breaking up.
Yeah, it's going
Can you hear me?
robotic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I said I agree. When Victoria went over to Abbott Chancellor to try to buy it up, thinking she's saving Billy,
Mm-hmm.
I can still sense that there's a little chemistry between them. And even when they have lunch or dinner with their kids, you can kind of see that they still have that. I honestly at first thought they were going to shift those two together because it didn't seem like she had a lot of chemistry with Shaggy.
Mm-mm.
But I don't know. I think maybe they'll reserve those two for later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But looks like they're going to go the Billy Sally route and see how that goes.
Yeah.
But I was hoping they would put her with Kyle at some point.
I actually thought Sally's best chemistry was with Liam.
Really?
They did have nice chemistry.
Yep. Back in the day when she was over at Bold, and that whole thing with him, of course, he put his cape on and was trying to save Sally and almost got unalived under a whole lot of rubble. I still seen a lot of chemistry between those two. So, yeah, I
Oh,
don't know. Mm-mm. I mean, did you see him more with Adam? What'd you say, Jay? Were you about to say something?
I was gonna say her and Liam did have nice chemistry, but I do think her best chemistry on Bold was when she was with Thomas.
Ooh, that was way back, but
the
that
other
was before
Thomas.
Matt, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Mm. That's what I'm saying. She need to
Yeah.
go back to Bold. To the two people that she had most chemistry with is over there. And
Yeah.
without
I mean,
Joe,
I didn't like her.
go ahead, Bree.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I didn't mind her chemistry with Adam. I just didn't like the writing with those two because it made me lose interest. Especially when she went back and forth pregnant, sleeping with both brothers. That kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah,
but she had great chemistry with Adam.
She did, and they wrote. Yeah, she had amazing chemistry with Adam, and they just messed it up with the writing, like you said.
Yeah, they messed that up the first time they broke up, when he was trying to help keep her job, and she was listening to Chloe, and I'm like, remember you guys, are you all on this podcast at that time when I was like, she realized, I know she got to realize what Adam was doing. They were fine. And then all of a sudden he's just going to cut you off. There's something more behind that. But it was up to him to actually tell her that. But it's just the writing on that whole thing was just messed up. And I lost interest in them 2 years ago. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have really for this week with these two. Do y'all want to tackle the Lily and Devon and Nate and Audra thing?
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that.
All right, go ahead.
I'm curious what Keisha's take is on her.
Is she back? Keisha, you back? Okay, she's still making coffee.
Okay.
Well, I'll ask her when she pop in to see what she think about Billy and Sally.
Okay.
So what do y'all think about the whole thing where Nate decided that he wanted to jump in the running against Carter for the Simp Award of the Week and asked Devon to get a job over at Winters for Audra?
They better act like he want to keep his job.
Yeah, I don't even know why he even went down that road in the first place.
Well, we know, because he's still trying to win this girl over, and she's just not having it. She's quick to drop this man. She said that you are just D and nothing more. And he figures like helping her get a job might make a relationship out of it. And I'm like, no, you better keep your own job, sir. You had to get in the good graces of your own family. He hasn't even full year yet at his own job. But he wants to help this girl get hers, and her track record speaks for itself. That she constantly gets fired from these jobs.
Yeah, but my thing is, she already told him that she really don't want to work for nobody else. And then Nate, he should already know that Devon really he's tolerating the relationship that he has with her. What makes him think that, to go get a job when she said that she didn't want one? And what makes him think that Devon was actually going to even consider it, knowing how Devon feels about Audra? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that he went through these leaps and bounds to do all of that when both parties have no interest in his idea.
I agree. He earned his silver medal. Let's give this man some credit. He trying. He looks stupid, but he trying.
What you got, Jay?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he went and did that. Even though she specifically told him she didn't want him like going behind her back and helping her or trying to help her or try to save her. But of course he was gonna do something to that extent anyways. And I guess he must have thought that monologue he gave her when he was looking into the mirror had a stronger effect than what it did, because she was not happy with what he did. So, but yeah, it's par for the course with Nate. He bit himself doing that. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, I wasn't surprised that he went ahead and entered into the Simple Olympics, as y'all said.
Yeah, well,
and
go ahead.
I was going to say, Sandra in the chat said Nate needs to go back to being a doctor because he's acting stupid over Audra, who has no loyalty to anyone. tens across the board, 100% accuracy. That is correct. I highly agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when he wants more than what Audra wants. This girl, when he came back to society and told Audra what he has done in regards to that, she was ready to leave him standing there and leave their little situationship. That girl, like you
Right,
said, loyalty to no one. I'm like, and then he's like, wait, well, this is why I did it. I'm like, dude, let her walk.
right. If she's willing to break whatever connection you guys have over the fact that you want to help her with a job, and she was taking any excuse that she can. She does not take you seriously, sir.
Yeah. What did y'all
That's
think
just
about the?
my.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said that's just my take on it. I know you guys were excited for these two getting together. Are you guys still excited about these two? Do you feel there's still potential at this point?
Who? Are you talking about
You
Nate
and
and
Jay?
Audra?
Yeah, Nate and Audra. What do you and Jay think?
Oh
I think there's
Lord,
Yeah.
still potential.
I'll let Jay answer that first.
Okay, that whole was hilarious the way she just said that.
Right.
But yes, I am, because I do still like them together. And Audra's very stubborn right now, and she's upset with losing her job. So I think she will calm down. And yeah, I don't think they're necessarily over yet, and I still do like them together.
I just wanted to see where they could take the energy, because you know me, I'm always rooting for a good love scene, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I figured putting Audra's energy and Nate energy together, in that type of setting, maybe we would get some heat on screen. But we've got a bunch of commercials cutting it off, so no. And then the next time they end up there in a whole nother scene somewhere else. So it's like I've given up on that part because the writers aren't giving us the romance, in my opinion. So
Yeah, such a disappointment.
I know.
Um, I don't see them lasting too long because eventually he's going to be tired of being shut down. And oftentimes in soaps, two people who hate each other end up together. And I
Hmm.
honestly feel Audra and Devon eventually will get together.
Are you serious?
Audra and Devon,
Yes.
Audra and Devon?
girl,
Yes.
you
Yes.
wild.
No, but listen. Billy and Victoria used to hate each other. Keep in mind that a lot of the Diane and Jack used to hate each other. A lot of the couples on the show used to hate each other, and then they slowly get together.
I
I honestly feel Audra and Devon will eventually get together.
I still want Adam and Audra. I've been waiting on that for 2.5 years. I wanted
They
to.
are making light years for happening.
Oh man, I mean, because they never come in each. We thought we had a glimmer of that when we used to see Adam come around. I mean, see Audra come around Adam and Sally. That would have been a bridge for maybe a little type of situation where they get, where Sally could have been undermined by Audra, but no, they didn't give us none of that. Or that whole situation when he went off at Kyle and called him a little puppy
Hmm.
dog over at the jazz lounge, and Audra's eyes lit up because of that energy that Adam gave against Kyle. That was an open opportunity that was missed as well. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
Bree, I don't see the Devon and Audra thing happening for a couple of reasons. But one
Okay.
of them is the fact is I don't think they're gonna have Devon and Nate in like a triangle over another woman like they had them doing with Elena. So I don't really see that happening again between Devon and Nate.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a possibility. Cassandra makes a very valid point. If they're bringing Elena back, Nate will try to go back to her, which I can consider that happening. And plus, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Devon has like competed for a woman with one of his family members. So I honestly feel later down the line that they'll get together, because it's always two people who hate each other, and watch that be the man that she actually gives a real relationship to. And plus, he's a billionaire, and she loves money.
I mean, the situation when Devon was in that though was when that was with Neil and Hillary, and like him and Hillary like really liked each other, and like the marriage to Neil was kind of like, you know, I mean, that was kind of different. And he's got a whole kid and a fiance now, so I don't know. I don't see it happening, but
yeah, I don't see Audra as the motherly type either. So, and I know Devon would find that very important to deal with Dominic.
and I don't think he can trust her as far as he can throw her anyways. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that connect.
Also, half the town hates Audra. So.
Hey, there's Keish, y'all. Keish is in the building.
Right. So that would put lots of opportunities for them, right? If we're going to go by the they hate each other rule.
Hey, Keish, we want to catch you up. What did you think about the Adam and Sally kiss?
I didn't really have much thought about it. we knew it was coming at some point. It was clear that they're trying to start something between the two of them because of the whole Chelsea Adam cheating situation.
So do you find that they would make a good on-screen couple? Are you interested in seeing more with them?
I mean, it's not the worst couple. It's just kind of like they're there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not excited about it. I'm not like, oh man, I can't wait for Billy and Sally scenes. It's just they're there. They have her doing something or someone.
Yeah. And then what did you think about the situation with Nate? And I said he was simping because both people did not want what he was offering, and he already knew that, but he decided to go bark up that tree anyway, with Nate asking Devon to give Audra a job.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll call him a simp. I typically don't like that word. Okay. Not because I think it's offensive or anything like that. I feel like sometimes we throw that label on men when they try to help somebody. I just don't. It just wasn't a good idea generally because of what happened in the past. Like, it's different for Nate because Nate is family. Where Audra is concerned, though, she's not family. They didn't know her, and she did what she did. So the idea wouldn't have even crossed my mind to ask Devon to give her another chance, especially considering look at her track record since she has left Hamilton. She's bounced from company to company, scheme to scheme, trying to take over somebody else's stuff. She hasn't actually done the work to be successful or to progress. All she's done is schemed and tried to steal other people's jobs and companies. So I don't know why Nate would want somebody like that at his cousin's company, at his family's company. Gotcha. And she's so independent, let her, she's fine trying to do her own thing, trying to make her own path, however she's going to do it. Let her do that with somebody else's business. Yeah. Don't bring her drama in there with yours.
Let me just say this, because I do agree with you. Sometimes that word simp is used loosely. What it normally means is when you put a lot more effort and get nothing in return. So it's okay to help, where a man can do something for a woman, and at the same time she's also bringing something to the table and doing things for him, and it's receptive on both sides. When you got somebody that's doing above and beyond with no boundaries or no standards, and that person is either scoffing at what you do, don't respect what you do, or don't give anything in return, and you continue to do that for that person, or that's simping.
Yeah. And now, I feel like if after this he still keeps trying to press Devon to get this girl a job, after she's, basically yelled at him about doing it, she was like, I didn't ask you for your help. Like, why are you doing this? If he's still trying to to get her position over there and is just like relentless about it, then yes, I will agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But if he just stops at this because Devon is not comfortable with it and she wasn't comfortable with him asking, then I won't give him that label.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, so I think we all caught up now. So what did y'all think about the conversation between Lily and Audra?
Stupid canceling out stupid.
That's
really what it boils down to.
I mean, go ahead.
I'll say when they both spoke at that bar, they both were trying to, I want to say like one up each other, but they were trying to like put the mirror in front of both in either one of their faces and say like, "Oh no, you did this. You didn't get a contract. Oh, you didn't. You had a chance for owner. You didn't do that." Like sorry guys, I don't know what's going on in front of my door. But they both look stupid, and you would think that they would hear one another as they're speaking. Like, "Oh wow, I made a stupid decision. Oh, maybe I should stop trying to pursue this company that has nothing to do with me." But it only fueled their fire to continue what they're doing. It's just stupid canceling out stupid.
What you got, Jay?
Yeah, I agree. It was like two high school enemies going at each other almost, and I don't know. They both, especially with the Lily situation. I don't understand a lot of the moves she's making. I don't know why she's still so worried about Chancellor when it really boils down to I don't really see the loyalty to her that she's showing to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you have a whole family company that's right there for you, mm-hmm. and that should and could be your legacy. And then obviously Audra with we've talked about in the past before how she could have just had the whole company if she would have just listened to Tucker in the first place. So it really is like Bree said, they're both sitting where they're sitting now because they've both made stupid decisions.
I agree. What you got, Keish?
I agree with what everybody else is saying. They just, I've said it before with you guys, Lily's issue is that she thinks people have more loyalty to her than they actually do because of their long-standing history with her parents, like with Victor, mm-hmm. where Neola's concerned and her history with Jill because she was married to Kane. And it's like if Jill had all this respect and trust in you, then she wouldn't have given Billy her proxy. Mm-hmm. to run the company. She would have just let you do it since you were already there. And which to me didn't make any sense on Jill's end because she chose Lily as CEO because she didn't trust her son to run the company properly. Mm-hmm. So then why would you turn around and give him all this power?
Well, remember it was that whole power structure with that merger, and they wanted numbers on their side because they had Lily, Devon, and Nate over there, and it was only, and then, of course, she wasn't sure where Lily lied, so she brought in Billy and Chance. And then turn around and give her the proxy because she now couldn't trust Lily in that side of the family. Remember? I think that's what it was. Am I right, you guys?
Yeah, I remember that. But then she acts shocked when she found out what Billy did. And it's like, this is why you put Lily in charge of your company in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why are you shocked that Billy did this? This is what he does. I don't know.
Let me ask you, because I know in the last few weeks you had a lot going on. What did you think Billy did that was so bad? I'm curious.
I can't even remember all of the drama that happened. I just remember him firing Lily because he found out what Lily was trying to remove him from his position. Mm-hmm. Isn't that why he fired him?
Because I thought he found out about that plan, too, that she had originally decided to do with Devon. And then she...
So then why is Jill mad then? If she knows that that's why...
story, though.
I thought didn't he tell Jill?
He said that she betrayed me, but he didn't give any of the rest of the details. And that's why she didn't believe him, because what he said was so vague.
I thought Jill knew all of that.
No, she don't even know yet about, unless it was in Victor's article, but she didn't even know about Lily going over to Victor to give up Odyssey 7 either. And that's what we were saying in the past couple weeks. This all could be for naught with Billy not having Lily back if Billy just tell Jill she took company secrets and gave it to Victor. He never said any of it.
So then I wonder if they even bring any of that up, or are they just going to forget any of that ever happened and just start the drama from you fired Lily and I'm mad about that, where Jill is concerned. Either way, I feel like there's so much drama and chaos over there. It just doesn't make sense to me for Lily to fight this hard to still be at that company. I get it. I get it that she, because Jill talks about it all the time, Devon talks about it all the time. Even Victor and Nikki have talked about it, that she has, made big changes at Chancellor and she's been successful in her CEO position. I understand that she wants to hold on to that. But if she has to fight this hard to do it, is it really worth it?
Right.
Like you're drowning, you're basically draining your energy in this company that is not yours and that can be snatched from you. Your position can be snatched from you at any time, versus working with your family. You actually have a stake in that company. Your kids have a stake in that company.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
I agree with that.
I wonder what type of value does she even have toward Winters? Because it's like you just said, Keish, that's your children's legacy coming down from your dad and everything. Do you not value that company that your brother and your cousin run? That you got to fight so hard to go over there, like you just said, and put all your energy, your ideas, your time, only for Jill one day to either let you go or to pass that legacy to Chance or Billy, because they are lineages of hers. Well, Chance is the lineage of the Chancellor side. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's the same thing I was saying about Carter, but we'll talk about that later. Bree, you was going to say something?
Yeah, that was my question for Lily. Like, what does she have to gain from going back over to Chancellor? Because, and this is why it upsets me how Devon and Nate keep reaching out to her and she's being disrespectful to her own father's legacy. I hate the fact that she keeps bringing up like, my dad and our family have close ties with the Newman chancellors, and I'm like, you keep bringing this up, but you have to realize your dad left Newman because he felt like he was undervalued. That's why he started Winters for you guys. And she doesn't even want to consider going back to working for that company. And I'm like, where is that stemming from? And I thought that conversation that Victor and Devon had was really funny. I know we'll get to it in a second. But even Victor's like, that's where she belongs. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't put it past Victor, especially since that article went out that he acquired Odyssey 7. Jill's going to question Victor or question Billy, and I think Billy would have no choice and say like, oh, well, Lily fed Victor that information. I think Victor's going to put a stop to Lily even wanting to go back over at Chancellor because he wants his wife over there. And that's definitely a way to put a stop, and she has no choice to go to Winters.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about what Keith said, Jay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, following up on what she said, that actually is really bad writing. If they don't ever have Billy, at the very least, like in one of those little teleconferences that Jill always has, if he doesn't tell her the things that Lily did, that really, when you really think about it, that really doesn't make sense. That he just vaguely said she betrayed him. If they don't ever show him giving her more details than that, then that's a really bad writing decision.
Because it would stop all of this, in my opinion. Jill wouldn't have a second thought, because that's technically a crime.
Yeah, and she would take what Lily did as a betrayal to her, not just Billy, when she finds out about the Odyssey 7 thing.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that Billy hasn't already told her that. So that's why it makes me think that maybe it's just one of those things the writers are throwing out the window and they're just not going to bring up. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I feel like that would have been the first thing that I would have told Jill if I were Billy when she was,
Exactly.
jumping down his throat about it.
Allison Climbs in the comment section says that it's almost if Lily thinks the Winters company is beneath everyone else's company. So I
Yeah,
mean, you got Jabot and you got Newman and Chancellor and all of that, and what she think that the company is not as good as everybody else. I'm assuming. I mean that could be a good point. Um, we got
I
go
wonder.
ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Keish.
I wonder, does she actually have shares in the, like, does she have any type of smaller level ownership in the Winters company at all? Because that could be something that, I mean, that could be a different storyline. They could have her and Devon negotiating her coming over to Winters and working there, and then her saying, well, I want some kind of ownership in the company. I don't have anything. Because their company is still private, right? It's not publicly traded.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think she has any shares, right? Because isn't him and Neil started that company together when he got the inheritance from his grandmother, right? So I think that was all jointly owned by just him and Neil, and it was understood that, if anybody in the family wanted to work there, they could, but I don't think they gave ownership or shares to anybody else.
That would be my argument for if I were Lily, because and I know Devon is her brother, but I mean, her standing there would be no different than her standing at Chancellor if she's got no shares in Winters.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. We gotta move on to that conversation. I think Bree brought it up about Victor and Devon having that whole conversation. Y'all touched on it a little bit. What did y'all think about that? Because he was telling Nate about how, oh, I'm not happy that she got played and all of this type of thing. And so I'm going to say something to Victor. And I'm like, what you going to do? What did y'all think about that conversation?
Yeah, I was upset about that because, see, you know how I feel about the weird Mr. Newman kind of thing that Devon does. And so when they finally showed him maybe having a little backbone and hyping up this confrontation, I was like, okay, finally we're going to get him like actually standing up to this dude. And then after that, Victor gave him that little, voodoo or the Jedi mind trick or whatever you want to call it.
Word salad.
Yes, and he went right back to, oh, okay, Mr. Newman. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I really thought he was going to speak up for him and his sister. And no, like, it didn't really turn out to be anything.
Mm-hmm. What did you call it earlier this week, Bree?
He called it that word salad. Devon went up to this man and said, like, I don't like the way, what happened, what you do with my sister. And Victor was like, well, I did this all so she can go work over at Winters where she belongs. Devon is like, okay. And I'm like, that's it? He just say all these sweet nothings to you and that's it?
Mm-hmm.
That's all the encouragement that Devon needed. And as soon as he saw Lily, he was trying to sway her over back to Winters. That's all he needed.
He really hit him with a Jedi mind trick. Like,
yeah,
I could have.
He came in ready for battle, and he just like boop, and he was like, "Okay, all right, no problem." I'm like, "Wow,
yeah,
really? Yeah. All right." Some people in the live, and I don't know if y'all think this, that Nick was doing some simping this week over Sharon. Now, Keisha, I'm gonna ask you: do you think Nick was doing some simping this week?
No, I think Nick is concerned about someone that he loves.
Okay. Got you. So we saw this conversation with him and Phyllis. And Phyllis is like, oh yeah, I know who did this. Sharon did it. And then she tries to tell Nicholas about it, and Nicholas is like, yeah, right. Nah, I don't believe that. And as she kept talking about it, he kind of got, I don't know, I would say irritated. And then he decided to tell her to stay away from, oh, that's my son texting me if y'all heard that message. To stay away from Sharon. What did y'all think about that?
I mean, he picked a side. Yeah, and considering it's coming from Phyllis, which her and Sharon have a horrible history, and she has no. She's just coming out the side of her mouth saying that it's Sharon because Sharon was, she had her little arguments with Daniel and Heather, leading up to Heather being unalived. So to me, it makes sense that Nick probably thinks Phyllis is off her rocker, thinking that Sharon did this. Like nobody knows that Sharon is talking to an unalived ghost, or a ghost. I guess I can just say.
Nobody knows that. Her imagination.
Yeah. And yeah, she's been,
Faith does.
Oh yeah, Faith does know she was talking to seeing Cameron.
Did she tell anybody?
She told Nick, didn't she?
Yeah, Nick and Mariah.
Well, I can't imagine that they would jump from the conclusion of. I can't imagine that they would jump from the conclusion of Sharon is off her meds to she's turned into a cold-blooded unaliver. So I don't blame Nick for telling Phyllis to stay away from her, and I don't blame him for taking Sharon's side, because we all know that Phyllis goes overboard. I mean, she herself did what she did last year. So it's not surprising to me that Nick doesn't believe her, or that anyone would believe her.
Here's my issue with both Daniel and Phyllis is that I think they should have moved in a different way instead of running around confronting a bunch of people.
Exactly.
I think Phyllis should have moved behind the scenes and maybe ask some questions and go through a fact-finding mission, moving on the low key versus, her running around telling Nick and even Daniel. Daniel should have never went over to Sharon's house. That could be used against him.
Yep.
What do you think, Bree?
I'm sorry. I was going to say I slightly disagree, Keish, because this man should have stayed neutral, because he calls himself trying to care for both women. And on top of that, this is the same man who knew that Sharon was out of town and he didn't know where her whereabouts were. So something should have struck a chord with this man that, okay, maybe I should look into this versus automatically taking Sharon's side. Because Phyllis informed this man that Sharon was the last person to see Heather. He doesn't find that to be a least bit strange. He didn't know where she was. She already lied to Mariah that she wasn't at the city that she was in. And all of a sudden she made a miraculous change the following day. He knows better than anyone that Sharon's behavior has been erratic, to the point where he had Mariah check that woman's house to see if she's even taken her meds. So I don't think that Phyllis is off base with look, you need to look into Sharon and see. And plus, Sharon has made public outbursts towards her son. I don't think Phyllis is wrong to think that. But I'm more upset with the fact that Nick just picked the whole side instead of saying neutral, and at least trying to consider what Phyllis is saying, especially since he knows that Sharon was out of town, allegedly.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I agree with Keish. It's not surprising that Nick did what he did, just looking at it from his perspective. The bad blood between Phyllis and Sharon, and then Phyllis's proclivity to go overboard and things of that. So I can see, he's looking at it as, protecting Sharon right now. Nobody would even with everything Sharon's done in the past, nobody is thinking that she unalived like Heather. You know what I mean? That I don't think anybody's ever even considering that. So it's understandable why he's protecting her right now. And then I agree with what you said, Suti. Phyllis and Daniel definitely handled this the wrong way, especially Phyllis. She definitely should have kind of like, because she's kind of known for darn near doing detective like work, investigative type work. So she could have like done her little research, on the low, maybe even followed Sharon to see if she was doing anything weird or stuff like that. But like for her to just go out and start doing what she was doing right off the bat, I think she handled it wrong. And then, like you said, what Daniel did, that looks textbook guilt. So he should not have gone to Sharon's house either.
Yeah. I mean, who's talking?
I was just going to say, and who would think that Sharon would have been able to, because she was found wrapped up in that carpet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who would think that Sharon would have been able to wrap her up in a carpet and drag her down to the lake and toss her in the river?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be a reach in everybody's mind, I mean, I'm still stuck on the fact of her blacking out. I just think that there's more to this. We're heading into November sweeps beginning on Thursday. I know the 13,000 episode and Abby's wedding and the rehabilitation of the original Newman Ranch and all that. But I'm wondering if there's going to be more bombshells coming up in November sweeps, and why did they, have her blackout. And the other thing that really struck a chord with me this week is that octopus that Chance found in the apartment. So I guess we can shift the conversation there. To me, unless this is just bad writing or there's something more to this, Sharon, you would think if she really truly thought that she did this, she would also know what she used. And she took clothes out of there. She cleaned up the glass. She wiped up the blood off the floor. She tried to get everything back in order. Why would you leave the one thing that took Heather out if this is what you did? We never saw anything regarding that octopus back in September when this whole original episode aired. And you leave it right there on the mantle for everybody to see. If that was also the weapon, she would have stuck that underneath in that liquor cabinet along with the phone and the bloody rags. That
and we would have seen her clean it off.
And then what? Say it again.
I said, and we would have seen her clean it off, and she didn't.
Exactly. You showed us everything else except what you used to hit her in the head. And then the other thing is, before Sharon blacked out, Heather was still alive. She was just on the floor looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when she
having her black out is definitely to me a tale that Sharon didn't do it. Mm-hmm. It just, however, she committed other crimes because she wrapped her up.
Correct.
She wrapped her up in that carpet.
Exactly.
And dumped her body.
She disposed of a body when she should have reported it. Right.
Yeah.
And see, that was something I had thought of at the time, because when I originally saw that scene, I had saw it in a clip. So I didn't know if it was editing or what. And then I saw the full episode and I said, wait a minute. So how did it go from, because Heather was like waking up from the initial thing. And I think I forgot what she said, something to her. I forget what the words were. I don't know if she said you're crazy or something, but she said something to her, like she was waking up. And then the next thing we saw, Sharon was waking up and Heather was unalived. So what happened between, I feel like obviously that had to have been done for a reason. And then I also told you guys, how in the world would she walk away from this? Because with her history, if she did do this, I don't see any kind of trope that could get her out of prison if she did do this. So if it turns out, the only thing that could probably save her is if it turns out she didn't do it. And that blackout would give us the answers, because I don't see any other way for her character to get out of that.
Yeah. What you got, Bree?
I think it's an opportunity for the writers to kind of take their time and rewrite if they feel that they want to give Sharon
a way out of this. But there's no way for this woman not to serve jail time. She disposed of a body. And on top of that, she framed a man.
Correct. So she came back to the scene and planted all that evidence. Exactly.
Yeah, so there's no way out of jail time. I mean, it's going to probably be a lesser charge for her not unaliving a person, but
they'll probably find some loophole.
And that's the difference between soap opera justice and real life. Because, like, in real life, even if this was a real life situation and it turns out she didn't do it, she still probably would serve time for all the other things, like the framing, like you said, the framing of another man, the disposing of the body, like, because that interrupts isn't there something about interrupting police business and all of that stuff? Like, there's a few charges there,
like that, tampering with evidence.
Tampering, yes. So there's a few charges in there that in real life you would still serve some time, but in soap opera justice, they would maybe give her community service, and then she would have to do something, and then maybe she can't travel for a while, like stuff like that. Like, they would find a way to get her out of it, out of actually serving the hard time at least.
Yeah. Victor of all will probably pull some strings.
Victor.
I agree.
Now, willingly too, he would just do it for Nick and then the grandkids,
or they'll just put her in Fairview.
He was telling Nick, if y'all remember when Nick was telling the family when he was in the office with them about a month ago, he was telling them the worries they had, and Victor was damn near telling him just leave it. Like, he didn't even want him to be bothered with helping Sharon. So it would definitely be begrudgingly if Victor does help her out of it.
Go ahead.
If Phyllis can be absolved of her crimes that she did last year, they will definitely find a way for Sharon to not do any jail time.
Yeah, these are legacy characters. That's the other thing. And I mean, somebody like Jordan, she could be hauled off to prison because, I mean, she's a guest. Or you can take out Cameron Kirsten because, he wasn't a permanent character. But Phyllis and Sharon, they did some stuff, but more often than none, they're going to get written out of their crimes somehow.
I don't see all of them have.
Hold on one second. I do see like Belinda Hill and several other people. I've been hearing this lately that they think that the man that Heather broke up with in Portugal is the one that did it. I've been seeing that a lot more often. I know Daisy was a topic of discussion last several weeks. Daisy. Yeah, if it was anybody who could possibly, if it wasn't Sharon and somebody else came in there and did that and knocked Sharon out and knocked Heather out, those two names are now popping up. Go ahead, Bree. What were you about to say?
I was going to say there's been plenty of can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. You kind of spaced out a little bit.
Yeah, I was saying that there's a lot of legacy characters on the show who served jail time, and according to the show, they served their time. Like, take it Lily, for example. She served her time and then she got out of jail. I think the same way can be written for Sharon. I think that once all this come out, I think Daniel has every right to press charges because that was a crime for this woman to frame this man. And plus, Phyllis and Christine are not going to let up on that either.
I think that only works, though, if the actor herself is taking time away from the show. And I at that time, I can't remember what was going on behind the scenes, but she took time away from the show, so they were able to write her with doing jail time.
Yeah, because even with that, she was in there for like a cup of coffee, and when she was ready to come back, they wrote it that she was out. So,
but anyway, if they want to keep somebody around, they'll just like they did with Sheila, they'll find a loophole. Like Sheila literally tried to kill 3 people. Unalive 3 people, and they found some little stupid loophole, soap justice, whatever you want to call it, and made it to where she didn't have to serve any time.
Now, Michael was in prison for a while, right? And I think I do remember seeing that actor, at least in scenes where he was in there.
Yeah, I mean they will do it to where they show they give you scenes in prison, but they're in prison for a couple of months and they get out. So they don't really serve the time that they should really be serving.
Yeah, especially the legacy characters. Because if we're gonna be honest, Adam should have been in there for a long time. And that's
Victor
my favorite character on the show. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Victor was filmed in prison for a short stint, but he wasn't in there long. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So if she does go to jail, it'll be for maybe a month or two, and then they're going to find a way to get her out. It's not going to be where we get scenes of Sharon in jail for years to come.
Yeah, like Tara is in jail right now, Harrison's mom, and we was hoping they bring her back for that whole thing that was going on between Kyle and Summer at the time, but nope. So
we haven't even seen her in a jumpsuit. And
no.
And now, see, this has me actually interested now, and I wonder if this is something that could be found out. I want to know what characters have been shown in prison. Like, what characters have had the most airtime actually behind bars? Because we've seen Sharon in there before. We've seen Victor. So I wonder which character actually has had the most airtime in scenes behind bars.
Nikki, Jack, Lily, a lot of them actually.
I don't seen Phyllis. Has Phyllis ever been in jail?
Who?
Yeah,
Phyllis behind I believe we get scenes of her being behind bars though.
I think when she was accused for Diane's fake unaliving at one point. But I think all of them, for the most part, have. It's a short stint, which I do agree with you guys. It will be like for a very short time, but they do show these characters behind bars, and I think that also gives the actors a bit of a break, especially if they've had like an intense storyline. Like Sharon has definitely had an intense storyline. Yeah. Exactly.
We even had young Nick. I'm remembering when he was in there with that dude Shark, and back in the day. So we've had Nick in there too.
Yeah. I remember that. All right, we gotta talk about Jack and Diane. Oh, wait a minute. It was something else before we leave Sharon. When Sharon was on that little overlook with Nicholas and her emotions were going back and forth, that should have raised an eyebrow to Nick that something wasn't right after that conversation with Phyllis. And then we saw a whole conversation in Sharon's head about how she need to figure out what to do with Phyllis now.
Exactly. But he want to pick his whole side. That I'm so disappointed in that. Be neutral with these two women. Just be neutral. You got kids with both of these women. It's not fair to pick and choose. But he went ahead and did it.
Let me ask you all a quick question. Oh, I'm sorry. Finish, Bree. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm like, and he knew that woman was out of town. And she's talking about she was the last person to see Heather and wanted to keep that a secret.
Do y'all think that how Nick moves is the same way that Ridge and Liam move between the two women that they share kids with?
No, I feel like Ridge and Liam are worse. Yes. Because Ridge, for example, the way that he is so touchy-feely with Taylor, some of the language he uses with Taylor, he's very misleading in my opinion. Now, I mean, Taylor she's an adult. She's old enough to know better. However, it doesn't excuse Ridge from, I don't know. I just feel like he is the king of mixed signals. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like Nick does that with Sharon and Phyllis. I feel like he's able to maintain like an actual friendship with them without making either one of them think that he wants something more.
Okay.
Like they've been able to show, I feel like they've been able to successfully show him be friends with Sharon and be friends with Phyllis without either party going to the side of flirting or being like somewhat inappropriate. But they're also all single. Rich has been married to or been with Brooke in one way or another for the last 20 years. So his interactions with Taylor to me have always been on the inappropriate side, because when he's around Taylor, you would think that him and Taylor were dating.
Okay. So that's the
Yeah,
difference. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty much the same exact take that I was gonna say. I feel like Ridge and Liam are slightly worse. I feel like when Nick is with one and not the other, he's able to maintain. He still maintains a closeness with them, but it's a friendship. Whereas with Ridge, it's almost like he keeps one on a string when he's with the other one, like almost leading them on. And then like with the Nick, like the only time I feel like Nick didn't maintain that the right way is when he was supposed to be marrying Sharon and then he slept with Phyllis. That was like the only time where I feel like he truly like, crossed the line with that. But otherwise, when he is with one, he's usually like good friends with the other. Whereas like Ridge, he kind of leads Taylor on a lot. Almost, but then again, like he says, she's a grown woman, she should know better. But Ridge kind of plays both sides of the field more, I would say.
What you got, Bree?
I think they're all kind of different in their own right. I feel with Nick, I used to feel that he was kind of neutral when it came to both women. He'll flirt here and there, but he's not taking anything seriously. I think he just cares. He genuinely cares about both women, but he's not trying to lead them on to anything. I do agree with that. When it comes to Liam, he feels as if he still got it like that, like 10 years ago. Like he feels that he can go back to both women and they're just going to fall at this man's feet and try to chase after this man. So he'll say whatever he used to say and it's going to work. But that was 10 years ago when that, worked for these women. And he tries to pull on the women's heartstrings a lot by saying, you're amazing, you're this, you're that. And I don't feel it comes out genuine. I think he's just trying to see what will land and what will pull that woman in that direction. So I feel it's more selfish on his part. Whereas Ridge is just dumb. Correction. The women around Ridge are just dumb. This man does not care. They allow this man to touch on him and to still continue to fight over this man over 30-something years. I don't think he cares. If he could have both of those women, he could.
That's funny. Yeah, okay. I was wondering what y'all thought about that, but I agree with you all. Ridge give a lot of mixed signals, and Waffle Boy waffles. I mean, we got to talk about that with him this week. I'm like, man.
And it made me question, like, why where Nick and Phyllis and Sharon are concerned, or it wouldn't bother me as much if either one of those two couples got back together. But it would irk me to my soul if either one of those women, well, I mean, I don't care about Hope and Liam, but if Steffy ever went back to Liam or if Taylor tried to go back to Ridge, because the way that the men have treated them have been completely different than the way that Nick has treated his relationships with Nick and Phyllis, in my opinion.
You mean Sharon and Phyllis?
Sharon and Phyllis, yeah. Like, I feel like he is able to completely cut it off with one woman when he's with the other and maintain an appropriate level of friendship, whereas those other two are not able to do that. And then we always hear the language from Liam. Whichever girl that he's interested in at the moment is the love of his life and has always been the love of his life.
Yeah, that happened this week. We're going to break him down, too. We
don't hear Nick say that to either one of Sharon or Phyllis.
And I have more faith in Steffi in that situation that she would turn Liam away, but I feel like Taylor would take Ridge back in a second.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We got to talk about Jack, Diane, and this whole situation with Kyle and the blow up and the breakup and the getting kicked out of the house and all that stuff. Who want to start first on that storyline?
Okay, Keith.
I mean, I'm not going to be too in depth with it because I'm like starting to get confused about what's going on with the three of them. But I do feel like Jack and Diane, just based on how they're arguing in public, how they're telling everybody their business. Like when they went home and Tracy was there, and it was like Jack and Diane were going into detail about what the issue was. I feel like they're making it a point to convince everybody that they're done because they're acting. I don't know what the bigger plan is. I'm guessing one is to win Kyle back to their side somehow and maybe infiltrate over on the side of Victor. But Victor isn't stupid. He's going to figure it out eventually.
So,
but I think that they're faking.
Let me pose this question to you all. Who on the call thinks that this is a plan, or who on the call thinks that this is actually for real, it's over? So, Keish, you says you think it's a plot, right?
Yeah, I think they're faking.
Bree, I think you're a difference of opinion, correct?
Yeah, even after Monday's episode, I think Diane is working alone.
And then, Jay, what do you think? You think this is a plan, this is for real, or do you think, like Bree said, that Diane is doing something separately?
I still think what I was thinking about a week or so ago, and Bree, you'll probably both remember this. Me and Bree, we were kind of going back and forth in the comments last week when I told her I think they're acting. And this week to me has made me believe in that even more. I even thought before this week that it was all a part of a plot, and this week makes me feel even more confident in that. Like he said, I feel like it's a little, I don't want to say forced, but it's kind of obvious, like the way that they're moving, the way that they're acting, and in front of people, like they're making a point to act how they're acting. I really feel like they're all. This is just a big plot.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same pathway of thinking, and the reason because they're making it an effort to let everybody know. I mean, Diane is probably one of the most disliked people in town. Why would you go and tell everybody that Jack broke up with you only for all those same people to tell you I told you so? We don't like you no way. Most times if you're in a situation like that, you're going to probably just slide on into the corner and be quiet.
Lay low.
Lay low because you don't want anybody to be like, oh yeah, see, they thought I was going to break up and here we go. So, I mean, they made it a point to that Kyle see it, all these public displays, each one of their fights. They've been fighting more outside the house than they have inside the house with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the first time was over at the GCAC, and then they did it again when, because remember they were fighting at the table and Victor and Michael was watching. And then the second time, they had that whole big old fight where everybody was standing in the doorway watching, including Kyle. And then you had to make a point to Tracy and try to convince her that it's over. Then Diane goes over to the GCAC, happened to see Nikki and Victor. She had to purposely walk over there, take a seat at the table, and then put a whole offer on the table to Victor. I want to work with you in order to take down Jack. Then she made a point to Phyllis in the park as well. I'm like, you going on a tour around town? It's just too...
And then calling Michael last week as well.
Yeah, I mean they're both really trying to make this thing, let everybody in town know that they've broken up. And that part just don't make sense to me when Diane is really not, she don't have an ally in that town except for maybe Michael, and Michael is working for Victor.
I could possibly buy that maybe some of this Diane is doing on her own to maybe to get, like she's sacrificing herself to get Jack and Kyle speaking again and to correct the mistake that she made of, I guess, leaving her, if that wasn't a setup, leaving her laptop open for Kyle to steal that information that he got. But I don't know. I still lean more towards the side of they're working together in some aspect, Jack and Diane, and it's not just Diane doing it by herself.
Yeah. Y'all got anything else on that?
I actually agree with that, Keish. I honestly think ever since she left that laptop open, she has been like getting her ducks in a row to make a point to, I think, both Jack and Kyle. I honestly feel that they keep saying Jack is like to put his business out there. She's choosing to pick fights. Because if we go back to where she was at GCAC and she saw Victor and Nikki, he was like, we should go. And she's like, no, I want to stay. She's choosing to have these fights in public. She's choosing to have attitude at the restaurants. Like she did the same thing over at Society and at the coffee place. She knows her husband well enough to know what type of reaction to get out of him. And I feel like he's really thinking that she has turned the corner, because the only people he shared this information with was with Tracy, yes, well, on Monday, Nikki as well. And of course, Kyle already knows. He's not going around town purposefully. That's Diane. That's why, for me, I feel like she's working by herself to try to prove a point. And I think it's for a little bit of power, but I think she wants to prove both of them that she's wrong. I would say she's trying to prove that she's not wrong about Kyle, and she wants to trap him. And she wants Jack to also see that she was right in her weird, twisted way. I think she's working alone, and she's torpedoing her marriage in the process with that.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I think maybe this is probably a storyline that's going to take us to some bombshells in November sweeps as well. I think all the Sharon storyline and that particular storyline is about to drop some bombshells in this upcoming month. Could be wrong, but I guess we shall see. There was additional in conversation where Jack tried to let Billy know what was going on as well. So when they were over at Society, I did enjoy the moment there was a brief moment of civility between Jack and Kyle.
And that's that when that started happening, that kind of made me feel like there was part of this that Jack wasn't planning, because I don't see Jack being deceptive in order to get back in good graces with Kyle. I don't feel like he would do that with his son. So that's why I don't know. That's why I keep going back and forth on how much of it Jack is really in on, if he's in on it at all. But that was nice to see.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was also weird to me the way he talked when he was talking to Tracy, the way that he talked about Diane. Like I know that he's mad, but the words that he was using, basically saying that he regrets ever marrying her, and I forget what else he said about Diane when he was talking to Tracy, but I was like, ooh, that to me was a little unlike Jack and was a little overboard.
I gotta say, Jack did take some accountability for this in that conversation with Tracy, which he should have, because this is what we've been saying for the last 7-8 months with all this neglect, because he was running behind Nikki. Now, I don't agree with Victor insecurity being used as a way to attack this family, but I do agree with the fact that Jack had to look into that, because when they were asking for help from him to sort out this whole situation between his wife and his son, and they were asking him for help, he was like, nope, y'all figure it out, whereas he was trying to figure out how to help Nikki. So I'm glad he kind of took some accountability in that conversation with Tracy yesterday. All right, did we cover everything with this week for Y&R?
Yeah. Monday's episodes are really great episodes.
I don't think you spoke on Chase coming to get Daniel.
Oh yeah, that was like the cliff. Most of that happens on Monday, but it did leave us with that cliffhanger. We saw Lucy finally get a level of maturity and not fight with her dad because he didn't want to go home. Cricket came back this week, and that also spills over into Monday, which you'll hear some of that stuff on the spoilers video. But yeah, I mean, Phyllis is. I'm like, Phyllis, just calm down. She want to blow up the world, and it's like that ain't. Stop being so reactive. That ain't how you do that. And I know that's Phyllis. That's who Phyllis is, reactive. But it's like sometimes you need to move differently if you want to get the answers and the help for your son that he needs.
Yeah. Yeah, she relies on that reactiveness a little too much. There's moments where I would like to see Phyllis handle things a little bit more mature.
Yeah, so maybe that's where Lucy gets it from.
My goodness, I don't know which side of the family she gets it on.
Lucy got one heck of a pedigree. Go ahead, Bree.
Yeah, she does. But I was happy that she was mature with her 16-year-old self now. Mm-hmm. So this is a step in the right direction. And I'm glad she didn't fight her dad on this. And there's a small, teeny, tiny part of me that would think it's a great twist if it happened to be Lucy who did all of this. Mm-hmm. Because who else would have access to that home besides Daniel?
Mm-hmm. I would absolutely love this storyline if it was Lucy in the end that did all of this.
Lord.
Yeah, that I mean, we thought this. We didn't expect Luna until later. Remember, we was. Yep. I know. Yeah. Bree was sold. Bree was sold for weeks that it was Poppy.
Yeah. Yes, for several weeks.
Look, Bree has been trying to pin every bad thing she can on Poppy.
I didn't like this woman. And the way the storyline was written, we didn't see any other, behind the scenes shots, nothing that pinned it on anyone else. So,
right.
So it's obviously this woman, but no, it happened to be her daughter. And now we see why. She was trying to pin it on her own mother.
Right. Yeah, I know. You was like, nope, no. It's Poppy. I mean, we was trying to pick everybody else and Lee and I forgot the other two guys that showed up. But no.
For 2 days.
Yeah. But yeah, Bree was like, nope, convict Poppy, put her under the prison.
It's over. Until
write her off the show. Get rid of her.
Because I didn't like how she treated Luna, but Luna didn't like how her mother treated her either. So,
oh gosh,
that was too funny. That's the thing of the summer. I ain't gonna never forget that. Bree.
You just had my girl buried under the jail already.
Yeah,
and
I'm hoping for the same thing for Sharon.
That's not gonna happen. That's a legacy right there. She's gonna get out of it.
Let me dream, J Money. Let me dream.
You want Sharon to go to jail, Bree? You want Sharon to go to prison?
Not for a long time. I want her to serve some portion of time, something more than her going to Fairview. I think that's such a cop out with the fact that this woman, for one, disposed of a body, and she also framed a man. I don't think that's worthy of going to Fairview for. She needs to go to. We need to see her jumpsuit and the cute makeup, the cute jail makeup. See her behind bars. If we see her behind bars for 2 months, I can be okay with that.
She said after a long time, she want Sharon to walk into prison and say, "I'm here for a good time, not a long time."
Justice for Daniel and Lucy.
And yes, in the chat, everybody's saying, how did she jump from 14 to 16? Yeah, they changed her age in less than a month, because earlier this year she was 14, and then last month she was 16. So
I would love it if they broke the fourth wall, and when when Faith comes back home for Christmas, she can be like, "Hey, I'm 16 now. Can we hang out?"
Yeah, right. That's
just have to acknowledge the age jump.
Well, they did. They age jump Faith too because they said that she was 19, and then last month they said she was 21. So it's like, listen, writers, we trying to keep up. And then they did the same thing to Beth, or was that Kelly? They aged her up to age 8 or something last.
They aged them both up.
Right.
Yeah, because Beth was 7 at her birthday party, right?
Right.
6 or 7 or something like that.
Right.
Keith, they must got Marvel writers working on these soaps. You know, have after the Thanos snap, everybody was like gone for 5 years and then was back. Yeah. They got people over there writing all the soaps now, I guess.
What's his name?
That's an interesting point.
What?
I'm sorry. I was reading a comment from Ron Julian. He said, Bree, Josh Griffin will take a page out of Brad Bell's book by writing a look-alike doppelganger, just like Sugar.
Who? Sharon look-alike?
Yeah, can you be specific, Ron? Is it Sharon would have a doppelganger? Or, like, I don't know, Lucy could have a doppelganger? Who are you referring to?
Well, Sharon did have twin daughters, right? So can we find out she had a twin that she didn't know about? But that would be weird. That would just be weird.
So crazy. Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on to Bold. How many likes we got in the chat and how many folks we got in the chat?
We got 98 in the chat and we have 54 likes.
All right. Y'all keep hitting that like button. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. We are enjoying this morning chat. Also, make sure you follow on the other platforms. I've been putting reels on both Instagram and TikTok and the Facebook group, and thank you guys for the engagement in that group. And then make sure that you also check out the spoilers. I did post the spoilers for Y&R. I did not get a chance to post the spoilers for Bold. I will be looking for that. Have you guys seen that they're out yet? Keish, Bree?
No.
I didn't think so.
Spoilers?
Yeah, for Bold.
I saw one from that, I think it was a soap opera network page.
Okay. You only saw one spoiler or the whole week?
I mean, for the week.
Okay.
I feel like those spoilers are so on and like some of it's like 80
bias.
80%. Not necessarily biased, but the accuracy.
Yeah,
because yesterday's episode, the spoiler from last week said that there was going to be something about an explosive something in the boardroom and the Forresters versus the Logans, and something about people taking sides. And it's like all they did yesterday was have Carter expand on what he wanted to do.
Yeah, that was
pretty much it.
Yeah,
there was another spoiler that didn't jive on Y&R, and they were saying that Victor was going to recruit Diane. Actually, Diane put the offer on the table to Victor yesterday. Yeah. So I was like, well, wait a minute. That didn't happen. So, yeah, sometimes the spoilers can be off big time.
Misleading for sure.
Yes, definitely. All right, let's move on to Bold. Let me do the summary, and it's not a lot of storylines. I think it's maybe 2. And then we'll go ahead and dissect that. Hold on 1 second. All right, so for the Bold and the Beautiful for the week of October 21st, Steffy and Ridge get bad news, and Hope and Carter make a pact. Carter ambushes Steffy with this plan to hire Ivy and Electra, and Sheila grills Deacon about his visit from Brooke. While Carter and Steffy lock horns, Will gets down on a bended knee by finding a ring and offers it to Electra. That was stupid to me. Ivy and Electra go to Eric about the jury line, and Hope for the Future lands back on the chopping block. And Carter pitch stirs up debate, and Brooke gets a big shock. I guess we can take this based on chronological, because it's not like Y&R that got like 5 different storylines. So, it left us off because that cliffhanger from last Friday the 18th, where Hope stopped midstream and she decided not to, and then we see on Monday Hope make this pact that they're gonna keep this, what happened in Carter's room, gonna stay there, which by the end of the week it didn't. But what did y'all think about that whole conversation? Because there was a lot of debate across Soap social media about him and her coming to the house and whether or not she should have, it was a very interesting conversation and discussions about that. What was y'all thoughts on that?
About her conversation at his apartment?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she...
Or he even going over there.
Say that again. Who was talking, Bree or Keish?
That was Bree.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I was
Bree.
saying, like, the fact that she went over there, I think, should have said that she was okay with whatever could have happened there. But I felt he was being respectful when she said stop. Or she said no.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have an issue with her going over there because it's not like Carter is somebody she just met a couple of days ago. They're friends. They've known each other for years. And if she decided in that moment that she wasn't ready to go that far, then that's her decision to make. Or it could have been his decision to make if he didn't want to go that far. I don't know. I feel like they both respected, or he respected her boundaries when she, like Bree said, when she told him to stop.
Yeah, I agree with he did. It was a sticky conversation. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, he definitely wanted to go that far, but like you said, he was ready. But like you said, yeah, he definitely, he respected her wishes. And I guess.
Sorry, Jacob.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I felt he was jumping the gun with the candle setup.
Oh, the romantic
thing.
Yeah, he said he called and had someone basically set his apartment up, and I'm like, you're doing too much too soon.
Yeah, I will agree with that, right? Like, if this is the first time, like you said, they've been friends for years, but this is kind of like the first time that you're bringing her. Well, I don't think we've ever seen her at his spot, but this is definitely the first time you're bringing her over in kind of a more than friend kind of a situation. And so for you to assume that you should already have like the candles lit and made it a romantic setting, I don't know. That was kind of, like you said, he kind of jumped the gun on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Then she should have never had accepted to go over to that man's place to quote unquote celebrate. They could have went to her daddy's restaurant. They could have went to some place publicly. She agreed to go to his place before they even went to his place.
But if they're friends, and they're going to celebrate, why does that automatically assume that she's going to his apartment for a romantic evening?
Because they had
he assumed that by setting those candles up, that's on him. That's not on her.
Yeah, it's not like he said, "Hey, let's go to a candlelit. Let's go to my candlelit apartment."
Okay.
He just said, "Let's go celebrate at my apartment." She didn't know that he was gonna, set the mood like that, and
Okay, well, the thing is that because they had crossed that boundary, they're in a whole different space now. The whole friendship and him saying, "I've been thinking about you in your underwear and in your lingerie."
Exactly.
And they've already been kissing on each other and things like that. They transition from now friends to possibly friends with benefits. He made his intention known that he's been thinking about her when he was even with Katie, according to the way this is written. So for her, and then he said, "Why don't we go back to my place to celebrate?" Knowing where we were now at this point, and I think I said this last week, I wouldn't have went. I'd be like, "Yeah, well, maybe we can go celebrate, have dinner, stuff like that," because we're in a different space now. That's the thing.
I get what you're saying, but I agree with Kish. Like, even in that different space, it shouldn't be assumed that when she comes over that it was gonna be that. You know what I mean? Like when you say let's go to my place and celebrate, that could mean like just having some champagne or wine to celebrate, having a nice lunch or something like that. I don't think it should have been an automatic thought that it was gonna go there.
I think as a preventative measure, I can't take responsibility for somebody else's what they're planning to do. I can only take responsibility for what I know that I'm not going to do and what I'm ready for. Mm-hmm. So initially going in, if I know that this man is interested in me and he's been perfectly clear with that, and now he said, let's go back to my place to celebrate, I'm going to be like, I think maybe for right now, because it could lead into something, let's go have lunch somewhere else.
Maybe she didn't have that thought beforehand. Maybe she thought she was ready, and when she got over there and they started making out, she decided, you know what, I'm not ready. And she told him that.
Well, the other part of this,
wrong with that.
The other problem with this is that she had started it and then stopped too. So she unbuttoned the shirt first. Because a lot of people were saying that in my chat last week when I was doing the midday stuff. And they was like, well, she started it by unbuttoning his shirt and they started kissing and then she stopped. So I don't, it's just a weird dynamic with this whole thing, and
she's giving mixed signals.
Who, she or he?
She is.
Oh, she's giving
because I feel that's a mixed signal. She went ahead, she was comfortable enough, forget the candles. Mm-hmm. She was comfortable enough to go to this man's place, to kiss up on him, to start undressing him, and then she stopped. So, and then on top of that, she wants to try to keep everything a secret, which is the same thing she just did with with Thomas in that whole situation. So either are you genuinely interested in this man, or you're just physically drawn to this man and you want to put a stop temporarily because you don't know what your feelings are. She had no business going over to that man's place. They could have celebrated right in the office.
I don't know. My thing is celebrated yesterday.
My thing is, to me, it doesn't matter how far you get. Like, if she had gotten to the point where she took her clothes off and then something came over her and said, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm going to stop this now, that's her right to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes in that whole consent thing, which is huge right now. And I totally get it because the power is in our hands. It really is. We control the access to that.
Well, T, I will say this. Me and Bree in the chat introduced you to a new acronym.
Oh, let's not go there.
So I'm just saying, she unbuttoned his shirt, and it looked like she was reaching for the belt before she stopped too. And maybe she saw sight of that acronym we talked about and got scared.
Oh my God! You know what, Jay?
We can always depend on Jay.
I know, right? He always got to come up with something.
She was scared of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it'll be a different, a different feeling for her.
Right. This is not Friday night. This is Saturday morning.
The weekend.
Listen, the kids are up watching cartoons in the other room. So you just never know. We got to watch it. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, also on Monday, besides what was going on with Carter and Hope, Steffy was getting phone calls saying that they, with people not wanting to buy Hope for the Future anymore. And that sparked a whole conversation with Ridge about the whole thing on whether or not they need to cut the line. I mean, I guess we can take this storyline down into everything else because at this point, why do you guys think that they should give Hope another quarter to get this line going?
I'll speak on that. Okay, I think they should, only because I really do like this this direction they're going with Zende and RJ really working together now. Like there's no more of the tension with them with the Luna situation behind them. It really looks like they're working together really well. And I'm kind of interested to see how they portray that with the stuff they're making, because they're praising Zende, and that's always nice to see, right? To see him getting some love. So I would like to see what him and RJ make together as this new design team. So I actually do want to see them give her a new quarter.
What about you, Bree and Keish?
I mean, if they want to round it out to give her, would this be the fourth quarter?
Yep.
And then they can say, we gave you 4 quarters, basically 12 months to turn things around, and there's still been no progress. Then at least Steffi has 12 months of, we allowed you to try, under her belt to justify, because apparently the 1 quarter, 2 quarters, and 3 quarters isn't enough to justify wanting the line cut. I don't know. I guess so. They're going to blame her no matter what. I think I said this yesterday. It doesn't matter how long they allow Hope to continue with this line, how long the line fails for consecutive quarters. They're going to point at Steffi and say, you're doing this because you hate my daughter.
Gotcha. What you got, Bree?
They might as well. I personally feel that they should have got rid of this line at the beginning of the year, or as soon as Thomas left, when they kept saying that, the line was failing then. They've had opportunities throughout this whole year. Steffi had an opportunity a few weeks ago to get rid of this line, and would have had Carter's backing and Rich's backing that. But she chose to be petty instead. So she might as well let the fourth quarter finish, and if it doesn't profit, then let it go. But she was boosting Hope and her line up that day in the office and said, I'm going to keep it around and see what happens. There's a lot of potential. I'm going to let you focus on your line. Then let this girl do that. And if Carter wants to help bring funds in or whatever the case is, then let this girl finish her fourth quarter out. Steffi had an opportunity a few weeks ago to end the line, and it wouldn't even be a discussion.
Yeah, I guess with, I don't know. To me, the thing is, the writing has been on the wall, and Steph and Thomas was the catalyst for that line. It technically, Hope didn't do the work. It was his brain vision that actually did it. And so with him putting in what his vision was for her line is what made it excel. Once that element is removed, now it's nothing there, and you can't get somebody like Zende, who obviously is nice to see, him doing okay over there now, but he doesn't have that same vision as Thomas had. It's trying to replicate something that only one person can have. And obviously the numbers are showing that. And we were talking about this in the summer when they were saying how nobody's buying it. They're sending them orders back. There's rejections. Nobody's searching for it on social media. We now have to pull money from Brooke's bedroom line to keep the other line afloat. I mean, you can have projections to say, hey, it's going to do better, but what are the numbers actually showing historically? And right now, unless they bring Thomas back, which we have no idea, what else can they do with that line? It's draining and bleeding money out of that company.
The funny thing to me is how I feel like everybody is putting this back on Steffi. With how Steffi had the opportunity to cancel the line a few weeks ago, and she chose not to because she chose to, like Bree said, she chose to be petty. But no one is saying this about Carter and Ridge and Eric when Steffi initially asked for the line to be canceled, and they all basically overruled her and said, no, we're going to keep it around for, I don't think they said how long. It's people are blaming Steffi for it because she didn't cancel it, because she didn't agree with Ridge and Eric and Carter the last time. But it's like nobody is giving that same smoke to everybody else when they went against Steffi when she initially said this line needs to go.
Yeah.
But, and then they're not even saying And that alone, regardless of that warning that she gave Hope, that alone, did that not show that she's not totally making this personal because she allowed her to keep it around a little bit longer? It doesn't matter that she gave Hope that warning to stay away from her husband. She still allowed her another few weeks to try to make some progress that didn't happen. So it's like she's in a no-win situation, Steffi is. She lets her keep it around. She's called petty. She wants to get rid of it. She's attacking Hope and she's targeting her. So that's why she just needs to walk away from that company altogether, because she will never be able to win. She'll never be right in anybody's eyes, no matter what she does.
That is my dream. And the thing is, I agree with you. That's why I felt like at the beginning of the year, they all should have been on the same accord to get rid of the line. But then it had the Logan's like tug on Ridge and Eric's heartstring to keep going for another quarter and another quarter. But the moment she had both Carter and Ridge on her side to end the line, she took that opportunity just to get rid of it. If she's focused on the business aspect of it, she had their backing a few weeks ago. They were looking at her crazy, like, what are you doing? They would have been perfectly fine with getting rid of the line. But
she was looking at them crazy when she suggested it.
Yeah.
And they went against her. They all ganged up on her and went against her.
I was just going to say, I do have an issue with the writing of this, though, because like y'all keep saying, a couple of weeks ago, they was discussing this. If they agreed to let her keep the line for another quarter, and that decision was just a couple of weeks ago, why is it being brought up again? Because a quarter is 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I never did it like that. It seems like every time her line even is in trouble, whenever they say, okay, we're going to give it this quarter, they never show the disparity of time the correct way. A quarter is 3 months. Every 3 months is a new quarter. So how are we back here already again after only a couple of weeks? Like, you didn't even give it time from the last time you agreed to keep the line up. It's only been a couple of weeks.
And this is why this entire time, this shouldn't have been a meeting about her line every couple of weeks and whether or not they were going to cut it. It should have been meetings about the ideas that Hope had to save her line, the ideas that were going to turn things around. Mm-hmm. Watching her work with Zendaya and RJ, watching her work with Carter to figure out, I don't know, and Katie to figure out the marketing plan for the line to try to pull it out from the depths of hell that apparently it's in.
Yeah, that's what it should have been. And
but instead they focus
bringing funds in, like stuff like that, because every few weeks them saying, okay, we're going to cut it, we're not going to cut it, that's starting to get annoying for me.
Yeah, and they're so focused, I feel like, on this whole Steffi versus Hope thing, that's just what they're doing. They're writing the storyline for the plot that they want instead of for it to make sense. Instead of actual things showing us that she is putting in the work, or that Zendaya and RJ are putting in the work to try to get things turned around. They focus on other stupid things that have nothing to do with this, and then the only thing that we see about the line are these meetings where they're trying to decide whether or not they're going to cancel it.
Yes, and it's not her fault, but to me, that makes Steffi look bad, because if every couple of weeks you're threatening to cut the line and you're not giving it the full quarter, that's why people try to point and say, oh, she's petty, oh, she's this, because you're writing her to look bad when you're doing that. Like, let the line have its course of the quarter you gave it. Let's not see you 2-3 weeks later after you decided to give her another chance to already say, okay, we have to make a decision on the line. Like, it's only been 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. I agree with that, Jay, but this is also kind of the soap universe where a 14-year-old will be a 16-year-old in a month and a half. So, like, maybe for their world, a few weeks is considered a quarter. I don't know. But I do agree with you. And there should be meetings as to what Hope's vision. And that was my other question. What is her vision besides ugliness?
Girl, we don't know. I don't think anybody knows anymore.
True, we're not hearing from her. We're hearing Zende and RJ are doing fantastic work. We're hearing Carter has these plans, and he's the one that's been speaking passionately in the meetings lately. But like you said, we're not hearing anything about what she actually wants to do. What is her vision? You've matured. You're older. It shouldn't be the same exact thing that you was doing when you first started the line. What is her actual idea? Like, we're not hearing from her actually speaking on it. It's just the drama side of things with her.
I really don't think she has an idea. I think that she gave the reins over to Thomas, and he was the one that created the vision for her. She was just the face of the line. That's it. And when
he gave her some style,
you silly, and an awakening. But the thing is that once he left, that vision for her line left with him. And now she's scrambling, trying to figure it out to put it in a line. That's why it was best for her to be hands-on outside of the bedroom or in that office desk. But it was best for her to be hands-on with Thomas so she can remember what he was trying to envision and see. It was like, oh, he'll do the work and I'll just be the face. That ain't. And then when that's gone, what do you have? Because Zende ain't got it, obviously. He's a good designer, but it's not Thomas's designs.
That's what sucks for Zende. Like, the buyers are turning away his designs ultimately. So that makes him look like a bad designer because no one can seem to get this girl's vision. She had Ridge working on it, Eric working on it, all these other designers working on it, and it's still not a success. So it falls on her to pull people in to actually say what her vision is and do like a checks and balances and say like, hey, this is going to work or this won't work for your target audience. I don't think she knows what her target audience is. She don't know who she is at this stage.
Can I ask you a question? Do any of y'all remember, how did she even get to the situation where she got the line in the first place?
Katie.
Because she's not a designer. So, because I can't recall. She just said, hey, let's make you a line?
No.
Katie created that line as a jab to Steffy because of the whole bill thing.
Yeah, to be petty. And she's had it for years. Because she went from an intern to within a few weeks, she had her own fashion line. And of course, Brooke backed that up. And they've been trying to save that line every other year since she's had it. So she has no experience of anything except for that.
Yep. They cut Thomas's line and they cut Steffi's. It was when she first started her rebranding of Brooke's bedroom, the Intimates line. They cut both, and they said it in the dialogue. Both Thomas and Steffi's lines were profitable, and they were questioning it. It was like, it doesn't make any sense to cut two successful lines to give 100% funding to Hope for the Future, which is just starting up. And Ridge said that he didn't care. Ridge and Eric decided to do it anyway. And they pulled budgets from both Steffi and Thomas's line to fund Hope for the Future.
Damn, why did Thomas have to catch a stray because of Katie's beef with Steffi over the bill thing? Like,
I think Ridge was mad at Thomas because I think that was after the whole taboo thing happened with
Brooke on the island.
Stephanie.
Yeah, so he was pissed about that. Okay. So yeah.
That's, and KH, you're correct. Katie came up with the whole concept. It's not even Hope's concept.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
If I was Steffi, I would. If you want to talk about being petty, if I was Steffi, I'd fire Katie for starting this whole damn thing in the first place.
But you know what? Then that makes sense in what you said, because if it was Katie's concept and Thomas's vision, Hope was just a face and a placeholder for this thing. She has
exactly.
Yeah, she's labeled as the spokesmodel. Yeah. She's labeled as the spokesmodel and creative director of Hope for the Future.
Yeah, and they've portrayed her in the past of like giving what she wants. Like, I want this, I want that. Like, as far as style and design, and then Thomas would actually make it. Like, they've done that. Like, she doesn't actually do the drawings, but it was supposed to be in the vision of what she wanted and what she liked in her style, and then he would put it on the paper. So they've done that in the past, but it's just lately we haven't even gotten that from her.
Right. All right, we gotta talk about this jury line. So Ivy, Tuesday's episode brought us into bringing Electra and Ivy back to, well, Electra's new for us, and Ivy back since we saw her in May, to introduce this jury line. And the problem with this that has caused such a debate in soap social media is Carter blindsiding Steffy without any meeting, memo, email, or anything with not just Steffy, but the executive team to say, hey, can we even consider a jury line? He just brought in Ivy and Electra on the spot and expected an answer on the spot. What did y'all think about that?
I didn't like it because that's not how you conduct business.
Correct. I agree.
Carter and Ivy didn't come in there with any kind of proposal. There was no explanation of how they were going to fund the jewelry line. There was they had nothing. It was just them walking in the office, blindsiding Steffi, and asking her to hire 2 people. Like, to hire 2 people and fund their jewelry line. I don't understand what Carter thought that he was going to get. And how do you, as a COO, to me, this all makes Carter look like he is not actually capable of doing his job properly. Because how do you, as a COO, present something like that to the CEO with no data, no nothing to back up your justification for hiring these 2 people and starting up a new line, while you have one line that's already pulling money from other lines to support keeping it around? Like, at the very least, he could have at least given her that information. And if I were Steffi, I wish instead of them having her completely shut him down, I wish she would have said that. I wish she would have told him, I want you guys to go back and put together a proposal and give that to me. I'll look at it with Ridge and Eric, and then we'll get back to you, instead of just completely shutting them down. Because that would have taken away the Steffi's making it personal, she's being petty. Even though she had every right to just say no, because you literally blindsided me with this. But at the very least, there would have been a little bit of, we can understand why she did that, or why she, told them, I'll get back to you on this. You don't drop something like that in somebody's lap. It's not like he was asking her to hire, an intern, like they did with Will, for instance, where there was a vacancy. You were asking for an entire new line and to hire 2 new people. Where's the budget for it?
Hey, Keish, you in leadership, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how would you feel if somebody came into your office and blindsided you with a concept?
Oh, I have had people do that to me before, and I have told them exactly that. I've had people bring ideas to me with nothing to back up how they plan to manage and carry out these ideas. Just, hey, we want to do this, and maybe a couple of elements of what they plan to do, but like nothing on paper, nothing solid and written down. It's like I need to look this stuff over. Like, I need time to think about this. This isn't just something I'm going to give you an answer on the spot. Like, that's a huge thing. You're asking to add a completely new line to our budget. You can't just expect me to give you a yes or no, an answer on the spot. And if you want me to answer now, I'm going to tell you no, because you didn't prepare anything for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, and then when he didn't get the response or the reaction that he wanted, then he say, you need to stop taking everything personal and make this about business. And it's like, dude, you're not being professional in this moment yourself.
Right. And are you not making things personal? Because a few weeks ago, you was ready to cut her line with no problem. And you thought Steffy was nuts for keeping it around. But now all of a sudden you're passionate about it. So where is this coming from, Carter?
Yeah. What y'all got, Jay and Bree?
Yeah, I agree. Like, he definitely did blindside her. And Keisha, I think we kind of talked about this in the chat. Where did you say that like she was it brought up like that Ivy was like flirting with Liam? Did you say like that was brought up and you felt like that was the wrong thing for them to put?
I can't stand when they have her reference Liam in any way. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. What happened was Ivy said that she had been in the country for a few months or something like that, or had been in LA for a few months. I can't remember how she said it. And Steffy was just like, "Oh, I'm surprised I haven't seen you throwing yourself at Liam all over town," or something like that. So it wasn't like they
weren't using that as like one of the reasons why she was saying no. So that's good then. But yeah, like you said, exactly your scenario. He should have came at her more professionally than just blindsiding her, assuming that she would just say yes, and because they're family, it would just be agreed upon that they let her do it. So I will say that was a bad move on his part.
What you got, Bree?
Oh, we had a lot of thoughts. I'll say this. Forrester Creations, they've never had any real work ethic. They kind of just do whatever they want to on a whim. I mean, they brought back Brooke's bedroom because Ridge wanted it. He didn't care to discuss that with his daughter, and she's co-CEO with him. She just had to kind of go along with it after his PowerPoint presentation. He blindsided Steffy, bringing Ivy. I think it's one thing if he had the projections and show that he had the documentation of the work that he's put in to do the research and see how it would benefit the company and present that to her. I don't like the fact that he, did ambush her by bringing Ivy along. And they were kind of going back and forth really quickly to try to convince her. And she wasn't able to really fully digest it. I don't think he had a bad idea at all. And I don't want to discredit this man because they did put this man in the COO position. I don't think it would take him, I don't think he would present something he wouldn't have the data or the research to back it up for. I think he's trying to present that. He is getting in his feelings as much as he's saying that Steffi's making it personal. He's making it personal too. That's just the Forrester way. Everything is personal with everybody. Mm-hmm. So, for me, I don't understand what Steffi's issue with Ivy. And he made that probably a very valid point in that pitch, is that Ivy could take her line and go to other companies, go to competitors, whereas she's a Forrester, a blood Forrester at that. And she could have brought that jewelry line there, I think. And plus, she also had the jewelry there so she can actually show Steffi. But I think there should have been a different way to go about it. And if he really wanted to get it through, he should have went to Eric because it would have been approved.
Yeah, it's all in the delivery of it all. And I was thinking about, speaking on going to Eric, Ivy went to Eric. Now, it looked like a regular visit, but she did bring it up, and it got Eric thinking. I thought the way that the spoilers was written that maybe he was going to take her side, but we really didn't get a solid answer this week on...
It looks like... Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. It looked like from that preview for next week that Eric...
Right, next week. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eric and I guess Ridge would have had to agree with it because... it needs more than just his approval, is going to let her go through with the jewelry line stuff.
And of course, that brings on Electra, which we saw that where her and Will bumped into each other, and jewelry went flying everywhere, and then he gets on a knee and pick up a ring and act looking like he's proposing. I thought that was the corniest thing ever.
It was very corny.
Like Disney Channel.
It was so unnecessary to do it that way.
Yeah, it was very contrived, very forced, and it's obviously one of those things that they do for like they're kind of like trying to set them up to be like such a great couple, and it would be one of the things they would show in flashbacks like later on. But we don't even know if the show gonna last that long, so I don't know why they went through the trouble of even setting that up like that. Because this show might not even be around in 10 years. So yeah, that was a waste of time.
What are you finna say, Bree?
I was actually looking at Jenna's comments. She said, "No, it's not going that way. Read the spoilers." I don't have to check them out, but not. And the thing is, whenever the Bold post their spoilers, they give a lot of people's hopes up, and it turns out to not be what they presented. They say that, oh, there's a huge brawl, there's a huge fight, and it's just like a petty argument, or we assumed that Hope and Carter were going to get it in, and that didn't happen either. But usually, if Eric comes to the office, anytime he comes in the office, he goes there quarterly himself and says, like, look, I want Ivy here. I want this such to happen. Both he and Ridge usually make those final decisions. They leave Steffy out of that, which is why I feel that she needs to go ahead, sell them shares, and leave the company. Because when it comes to decisions, it's usually always Eric and Ridge who make the final decision. Right. And two is going to be better than one out of those three. So she's out of luck with that.
I would like to add something to that real quick. When you said Steffi should sell her shares, if they did decide to go that route, I think it would be incredible if they revealed who she sold the shares to, and that's how you bring Matt back, and she sells them to Thomas, and he comes back and he's like the CEO. That would be pretty cool if they actually decided to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that what is it really going to do though? All three of those men enjoy working with Logan women, so it's not like they're going to disagree much on anything. They give those women whatever they want.
If they bring him back and he's married to Paris by then, and they give him like a completely different attitude towards Hope, like not like treating her badly or anything, but if he's just not listening to everything she wants and he actually runs it, like that would be a great way to bring him back in and give him kind of like a whole different kind of point of view.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they would definitely have to rewrite his attitude towards Hope, because in the past, that man, regardless of if he was with Hope or not, does whatever Hope wants.
What did y'all think about the conversation with Liam? Because Will is gassing Liam up in order to get him back with Hope.
That conversation was... This is why nobody takes Liam seriously. And this is what I was saying to you guys in the chat a year ago when Liam was, all of a sudden he remembered that it was really Steffi all along that was the love of his life, and he was just suppressing his feelings for her. I'm like, first of all, we remember what this show has written in the years before. He has never acted as if Steffi was the love of his life. He loves Steffi, but Liam has never put Steffi over Hope. So it always felt like BS to me when he automatically jumped to wanting Steffi back once Hope hurt his feelings. And then what he's doing right now with Hope, all the words that he's saying to her is pretty much everything that he told Steffi last year. So it's like nobody takes this man serious because he uses almost the same language with both women. And just because it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction for him to run back to Hope after he realized that he couldn't get Steffi back doesn't mean that Liam has changed. He's still the same man that he's been for 10 years.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, he had the nerve up there talking about when Will said, I'm there for all of the pretty women, and he said, Liam was like, and there's no woman prettier over there than Hope. And I'm like, he didn't just say that with a straight face, right?
I was cracking up.
I was like, this man, I need to be a better man, and I need to be that man for Hope. Dude, you was just trying to get Steffi right before the whole Luna thing came to light.
Yeah. But you know what I find interesting is how now I feel like they're making Liam and Hope's divorce on there. It's almost like they're making it Liam's fault because he's over there talking about how he has to convince Hope that he won't disappoint her again. I'm like, you weren't the reason they broke up to begin with.
She cheated.
Yeah, so right. So I'm confused now as to why they're trying to make it seem as if this was all predicated on Liam's actions.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is he needs to just take a step back. The girl had already told him, "I don't want to be with you."
Yeah. Liam needs the only thing they can do for that character is cast a new woman for him, because there is I don't think anybody, unless
Ivy.
You're still a die-hard.
Ivy's ride or die for him for sure.
Ivy would work. Ivy would work better than Hope or Steffy ever will with Liam again. Like, neither one of those relationships would ever be believable.
Yep.
All this shows me is that Liam is not a finisher. This man was going so hard to try to get Steffy back. And when he realized she wasn't leaving that doctor, he quit. He gave up and said, you know what? Hope looking really good again to me. So now he want to go back over there because he can't get Steffy back.
It wasn't even that, Jay. It took Will to try to impress him to go back to Hope. Before that conversation with Will, he wasn't running back to Hope. It was Will talking about, maybe you should think about fixing things with Hope. And then he was like, well, maybe I should. Dude. Just stay on your daddy's couch, as Bree say.
I don't even think he ever really wanted Steffy back. I think that was definitely a reaction to what Hope did, and he was just looking for a way to hurt Hope.
What you got, Bree?
I'm just happy this man went to work. He went to work twice in 2024, y'all.
Oh.
Twice. Just miracles. But anywho. The only reason Hope is looking good to this man because he hasn't had it in about a year and a half. So any woman looks good to him at this point. And he feels, that's what I keep saying, he has these two women in his back pocket from 10 years ago. And and his motives and his script hasn't changed, nor has he. But these women have, like, in some degree, matured past that, or it's just not working for them anymore. He has to try to find or write up a whole new script. And like, if it was 10 years ago, Carter wouldn't have a chance, Finn wouldn't have a chance, even Thomas wouldn't have a chance, because those women will gladly fight over that man. But now, they're not even thinking about that man. Hope was happy to cheat on her husband. Because, like, he left Hope because she kissed Thomas. Well, she did more than that with Thomas. So is he willing to take her back even after all of that? Seriously,
that's a pivot in the script. I didn't have so much whiplash within the last week and a half with Bold, because one moment Carter is all about taking down the line, the next moment he's not. Then he was trying to get with Hope at the same time. We now found out he was thinking about her while he was with Katie. Then we got Liam. He flip-flopped, where Steffy was now the love of his life. Now Hope is the most prettiest person at Forrester. I'm like, y'all need to figure this out.
Not only is she the most prettiest person at Forrester, didn't he say something like he can't see his future without her? And he said really this whole time she's really who I've wanted, or I forget how he worded it, but basically he alluded to the fact that he was never really over Hope. So even when he was begging Steffy to leave Finn, he was really still in love with Hope and really still wanted to be with her this whole time.
He just had his feelings hurt.
Hey, Bree, you said that you think he's going back to Hope because he ain't had it in a year and a half. Even when he was getting it a year and a half, he wasn't really getting it because she was thinking about Thomas when she was giving it to him. So,
oh Lord,
he's trying to get
that's tough.
whatever's convenient for you.
Oh man. Now this takes us toward the end of the week because we saw a whole thing where Carter was coming up with these ideas and he has had to share them with Hope, and Hope is gassing him up saying, yes, you're the COO, you have a voice, you need to go stand up to Ridge and Steffy and tell them what you want to see for this company. And I'm like, you gonna listen to her? This girl is literally you telling him to be her shield at this point. And I need you to go in there. I'm going to put a battery in your back. And I want you to run head first into your leadership and confront them. And what did he do? He did it. Go ahead.
He volunteered doing this. He was happy to do it too. And talking about, and she boosting this man up, talking about this is your legacy. Where within Forrester is this his legacy? His brother has a piece of that legacy more than him.
Oh, right? Yeah, that is right.
I didn't realize his name was Carter Forrester. Talk about this is your legacy.
No, like his brother is technically Eric's adopted son, legally still. We haven't seen him on screen in about 10 years, but still, he would have a piece of the Forrester pie before him. All the Forrester grandbabies have the legacy, even Donna, the Logans, everybody, way before this man. So what legacy?
Yeah, he
just like Lily.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Him and Lily on the same Delulu Island. It's like, why y'all fighting for something that? Because Carter got a lot of great ideas, but it's gonna take, and this takes us into the meeting in Friday's episode when he run up in there, and Hope gets started, and then he's like, "I got this, Hope." I'm like. Okay, all right, let him go and run head first into leadership. And he's putting all these ideas, which I do think is a good idea in so many terms, because he's trying to turn Forrester into Newman Enterprises and Chancellor Industries, because they're all about mergers and acquisitions. However, there's a part of me that agree with Ridge with saying, listen, we'll lose our identity. We're a fashion house, just like Marchetti, just like Finmore. And granted, do they have like fragrances and stuff like that? Yeah, but this is something that they probably should have worked on years ago to bring to this point. And that would also include removing the Hope for the Future line, because the Hope for the Future line is draining money. You're going to bring in new businesses that technically you don't even know is going to work and bring in revenue. And then you got one that's already draining revenue.
Right. It's a good idea in theory. And he's been doing research for years. It would have been beneficial for research.
Bree, your phone is breaking up bad.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I was saying that he's done the research for years from what he was saying. If he presented like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan and say like, oh, let's do a slow rollout of such and such so we can reach to this point, I think that would have been beneficial for him. But I understand this is just a little pit to see what their thoughts were. But I don't think he had a bad idea. I feel like when it comes to perfume stuff, I feel that's going to take time. But I felt with the shoe, I thought they had shoes and handbags, all of the stuff.
Bree, yeah, do me a favor, bounce out and come back in.
They did. I remember Allie being a shoe designer, so I assume they did have like those kind of accessories, like shoes and stuff like that. Like most fashion houses usually do have shoes and handbags to go along with their clothes. And I agree with Bree. I think what Carter is talking about sounds great,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost as if he wants them to pull the trigger on everything
Now.
immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Carter is presenting this grand idea and didn't put a proposal in front of anybody's face.
And he want to throw his own money in there. Did y'all see KH's?
Yes.
Did you see KH's comment? Read
He was
KH's
stupid.
comment. It's right above Aisha's.
I am age. It's not worth it.
Oh gosh.
I
Wait, can
mean,
y'all read it out? Can y'all read her comment out?
No.
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 I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the
Yeah.
Trying to eat breakfast, Emma.
Yeah, well, the other thing is I don't want to get a limited hit on YouTube for that word.
Yeah.
But yeah, this man is willing to throw in he said, I'll put my own money on it. I'm like, first of all, you gonna throw your money into somebody else's legacy. If you want to throw some money into an investment, invest it in your own.
I fully agree with that. And and they just said, "Chill."
Oh, girl, your phone.
Still here.
Yeah, it's bad.
Keisha,
What is going on?
Are you did you move to an area where your signal is off or something?
The same spot this whole time.
Right, you get to the end and start talking about Carter, and he like, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut you off. But go ahead.
Oh. Oh my goodness. No, but he's foolish for everyone to his money. Like that job for a reason, because you don't have ownership in your companies. You have to be employed somewhere to pay your bills.
Here's the other thing.
And plus, once again, this is not your legacy.
Well, the other thing is, over the past couple of weeks, people were saying that they got the money to do it. Well, we learned in Friday episode they might not have the money to do it because they said they have to put themselves in debt and get loans in order to fund this stuff.
Right.
So,
and that's exactly how Eric lost the company last time. He had to take loans out, and he couldn't keep up with those loans, and ended up defaulting. Bill bought the company from under them.
Yeah, I mean, and him being an attorney and the COO and watching data and numbers, he should have known whether or not they can afford any of that stuff. But obviously, he did know because he was ready to put his money in there. So obviously, he know they coming up short.
That's why this is making him. It just makes him look like he is not as brilliant as Steffy and Ridge and Eric has been saying he is all these years, because none of this makes any sense. If you know the company can't afford it, then why are you pressing them to go through with this? Yeah. And pressing them to keep Hope for the Future afloat?
Yeah, KH said the last time Forrester Recreation got loans, Bill Spencer ended up with that company.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Bill Spencer ended up buying it from. He basically pressures the banks to close on those loans so he could buy the company from up under them.
Yeah.
Because Eric and Ridge are idiots. They have always been idiots. They have lost that company, I think, like 3 times.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and then he thought he did a great thing. Hope was so excited, that song was playing in her head, Water, And so by the time they got into the design room, she wasn't ready on Monday. She was ready on Friday. Mm-hmm. That whole song. Who was that? Who sang this? Is that Keep Sweat? Yeah.
Wait, what song?
When you said Water, I thought you was talking about that recent song that became a huge hit with the girl, with the woman.
Tyler?
Yeah,
Tyler.
Yeah, that song was playing in her head because she was ready to go in that other room.
I don't know. And what is it with this girl and that office? If he was smart, he would have never he would have never invited her to the apartment. He would have got it in if he stayed right there in the office, because apparently that's an aphrodisiac for her. She was willing to do that right there in the office.
I think it's watching him stand up to Steffy.
Yeah,
that turned her on.
Her love language is words of affirmation.
Well, then you know what? He need to get, like Thomas. He need to get a Steffy mannequin at his apartment, and then whenever he bring her over, he can like just yell at her and tell her we keep in line, and that'll get her right in the mood.
LaShanta Stacks she made a good point. She said, "Does anybody remember the fashion challenge? Carter constantly complained Eric was spending too much money."
Last year.
That's a good point.
That's right. See, that's a pivot.
Yeah, and that was last year when Hope for the Future was still doing good. He was complaining about the amount of money going into that challenge. Mm-hmm. That's why this show annoys me.
Designing we're talking about, like that's the key here. But you're gonna find Hope.
That's why this show annoys me, because they go back and forth on the continuity of how things are going, and it pisses everybody. It pisses the viewers off, because it's like, this doesn't make sense.
I agree. I totally agree.
Just like how this whole thing about, because we know when Steffi finds out that Hope and Carter are hooking up, they're going to have her have an issue with it, because she's going to think it's clouding Carter's judgment and it's interfering with work. When we know literally every relationship on that show has pretty much been Forrester Creation employees hooking up with each other, right, for the most part. Like, that's never been an issue before. But the show is going to make it an issue now, just so they can have Steffi say, you guys shouldn't be dating. Just so they can throw that narrative in there that Steffi is trying to control everybody's life.
Yeah, and then we got to not forget, because Ron Julian brought it up, that conversation with Deacon and Sheila. Everybody thinking that Steffi was a bully and they need to leave Hope alone. And then even that conversation with Brooke talking to Ridge, talking about she has nobody in her corner. I'm like, would you stop?
I know. Like, that girl has more support at that company and in that family than Steffi has ever had.
Yeah, that's crazy. But speaking of Brooke decides that she's going to walk in on that scene, because I'm telling you, she unzipped that man's shirt and was rubbing across his pecs. She wasn't hesitant, but it didn't make sense, you know. I guess maybe, like you said, that whole affirmation thing of what she saw in the boardroom. And then she talking about go lock the door. They never lock doors on this show.
She used to lock the doors with Thomas all the time.
Yeah, well, Brooke walked in and saw everything.
Yeah, you know she ain't gonna say nothing.
Well, she can see everything, but
it's like
like she just knowing going in and
girl, you sound like a robot.
You sound like a robot. Okay, then let me go back out.
I think initially, of course, they had to have Brooke be in shock. Like, initially she's shocked, but at the end of the day, she is not going to have an issue with Carter and Hope.
No, she's going to keep it a
secret.
In the chat, Keish. Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah, she's going to.
She knows the position he's in, and he's going to be able to help her daughter. So it's not going to be the same as when she came at her about Finn and Thomas. She sees this as an ally to her daughter's happiness.
Yes. Yeah, which I don't care either, because like we were saying, everybody at that company dates each other. It shouldn't be an issue. But of course, they're going to, just for the plot, they're going to make it an issue because they're co-workers.
I agree. David Hall in the comment section, y'all. Last comment.
Oh God.
You see it, Jay?
Y'all are acting up.
Y'all crazy. And this is supposed to be a Saturday morning, y'all.
She was ready for it then, huh, David?
Oh, man.
Oh, y'all crazy.
You probably saw my comment in the chat when she did the, no, wait, stop. I'm like, she finna stop him again. I thought she was teasing, but she said, no, lock the door.
Right. I mean, that dude. when he threw a, cause see, I was so over the whole thing in The Office, but when this started to happen, I'm like, are we gonna get some romance on screen? No,
Mm-hmm. Of course, Brooke had to come in there and ruin it.
oh man, I think that covered everything, right? I don't
Yeah, I
I
know,
think
think we
so.
Bree.
should
What?
have a poll. Where are Hope and Carter gonna get it in for the first time? Will it be in the office? Will it be at his place? Will it be at her place? Like you should have a poll.
Yeah,
It's-
I think it'll be at his place, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
because it ain't gonna be at the tiny cabin in the woods. We know that.
they need to get rid of that set once
Yeah.
and for
If
all.
the walls could talk.
If the floors could talk and that
And that
couch.
couch too.
Can you guys
And
hear
then that
me?
desk in that office, that's really got a lot to say.
Oh man. What'd you say?
I can
I
hear
heard
you,
you,
Bree.
Bree.
You guys can hear me? Is this better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard something about Hope needs to get off her mother's front yard.
Hello? Where you go?
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Girl.
You gotta wait for a second.
I went away for a
Nothing on the
second.
lines on your block or something? Because you keep cutting in and out or sounding like a robot.
They must be, because I've been sitting in the same spot since 8 a.m.
Yeah, normally Bree don't have problems because we do the chats during the midweeks and stuff, so I don't know what's going on this morning, girl, with your connection.
I apologize, y'all. I have no idea. I've been literally sitting in the same spot.
No,
You don't
Ron
have
Julian.
anything- You don't have anything on, do you? Like, did you leave anything on?
No, everything, same thing with Friday nights.
Oh, no.
Usually in the same spot. I don't know, maybe a little something going on in the morning, y'all. I do apologize.
I gotta say something to Ron Julian. He's talking about, do you see a pregnancy storyline for Sheila and Deacon? No.
Man, what you know how old they is?
They're close to 60, both of them.
I mean, unless you make it a
people wanna
Halloween storyline and
What
she
you-
give birth to a
A
little
lot.
demon.
They all want to get Sheila pregnant. She's
She
not
got
even
5
around her own
kids out
kid.
there.
And she got
Right.
enough kids that she don't take care of.
And she
Right.
got a
She should give her another
granddaughter.
one.
Lucy's her she got a grandmama. Lucy's her granddaughter, so no.
She got what, 5 kids?
Yes.
She got enough, man. We don't even see her taking care of the ones or even talking to the ones she got now. And I'm trying to give her a baby at 60.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and do these last final segments, and then I'm gonna let y'all have y'all Saturday back. So the last several segments is who's taking this. Well, flip the script. Who's taking the seat? Our star of the week, pickle of the week, and who won the Simp Olympics. And I know, I don't know what you got on that one, Keish, because I know you're a little bit more scrutinized when it comes to your definition. So if you got somebody you or not, that's cool too. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna flip the script on Y&R. What you flipping? Who's going first?
I'll go first. I would have flipped the script and had Devon actually stand his ground and not get Jedi mind tricked by Victor and his word solid and like stand firm on what he was talking about. That was weak. That was weak as hell.
Gotcha. Who's next?
You know what? I would have had Devon and Abby tell Victor, thank you for offering to plan our wedding or whatever it is Victor is doing, but we're going to turn you down. We're just going to take care of it ourselves. There's
Gotcha.
something about that annoys me.
Bree?
I would say Devon, after Lily turned him down, back to when I wish Devon would say, this was the final and only opportunity. Don't worry about trying to help our father's legacy anymore. The door is closed.
And my thing, I think I already said, is that I would have had Phyllis and Daniel move differently when trying to figure this thing out instead of being confrontational and reactive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what y'all got for bold?
Mine would have, I guess I already said mine. Mine would have been, instead of completely shutting Carter down with the jewelry line, I would have had Steffi tell him and Ivy put a proposal together, and get back to me.
Okay. Yeah, my flip would have been to just scrap that storyline with Will being on his knee looking like he proposing to Electra. That was stupid.
Did you guys also notice that Zende didn't say, "Oh, that's my cousin," when Will told him about meeting her?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was as if he had no clue who Electra was.
What's y'all flips for bold, Bree and Jay?
Mine would be, instead of Carter saying he's going to invest in these little extra projects, he said he would invest in hope for the future since he believes in it so much.
Oh, so take his money and put it in her line? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Jay, did you say yours for bold?
No. My flip would have been for Carter to come in there with an actual proposal for the jewelry line, as opposed to just coming in there blindsiding Steffi. I would have had him come in there with a more professional approach.
Yeah, I got one other thing. They should have locked that door and gave us a full scene with Carter and Hope. That would be my flip. If anything else for a Friday, give us that. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Who's taking seats on the Young and the Restless?
Phyllis.
Lily. Bree.
Audra and Lily.
Keish.
I'm gonna go with Devon.
Oh, okay.
The way he approached Victor. That should have been more than what it was.
All right.
You go on and sit back down somewhere because you ain't even do nothing.
Oh man, who's taking seats on bold?
Brooke and Carter.
Brooke and Carter, okay.
Wait, why Brooke?
Because she walks around there whining about how nobody supports her daughter, and it's like literally everybody supports your daughter.
Right.
The entire canvas of Bold right now is on Hope's side, and everybody's calling Steffi a bully, with the exception of Finn and Taylor.
Mm-hmm. What you got, Bree?
I'm gonna say Carter and also the lock on the door.
Wait, the lock on the door can take a seat?
Yeah, we needed some form of entertainment, and that lock never worked.
Right. Jay?
So take this seat.
Yeah, it's got to be Carter. It absolutely has to be Carter.
Well, I was hoping Go ahead.
AKA Super Simp.
No.
Yeah, he got to take a seat.
I just wanted them to take a seat on that desk. That's all I was hoping for, you know. Well, she had her back on that desk, so.
So she
did Liam an honorary seat.
What?
She did take a seat on the desk, technically.
Yeah, but it wasn't all the way. So I mean, he tried to take a seat on her, but you know, Brooke stopped that too.
Yeah, what is it with that woman?
Oh yeah, we can throw Liam in there too, because Liam was acting a whole fool this week.
Oh yes, you're right about that.
An honorary seat.
Yeah, and talking out the side of his neck. All right, who's the star of the week, Young and the Restless?
Michelle Stafford.
I gotta give it to Sharon Case when she was gaslighting the heck out of Daniel.
Yes, I love that scene. Because it was just the look on her face and the tone that she was using with Daniel, knowing what she did.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't crack at all. I'm like, God, that had to have been hard. She should be exhausted after that.
Yeah, I would have to give it to her too.
Did everybody get their stars? Bree, did you get yours?
Yeah, I said
Okay.
Michelle Stafford.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she knows she can scream and yell. That girl knows she can get mad.
Hmm.
Star of the week on Bold. It's hard. I know.
Yeah, it's really hard to find one this week, ain't it?
Because everybody was
Yeah.
No,
goofy.
it's not. Carter's abs.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good
that's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You can't
Well,
leave
that's
out.
not one
Listen.
I would be picking.
Listen.
So that's
Bree,
nothing for me.
you left out the pecs too, so.
Yeah, there we go. Carter's body. There we go. Just the overall. I think it's the star this week.
Okay, Jay, what's your star this week?
Damn.
You can't think
You know
of
what?
nothing.
I'll say, because instead of the character, I'll say the actor. I'll say Lawrence St. Victor.
Okay.
Because at least he's getting a chance to shine here. So
Yeah.
I'll give him the star of the week.
That'll
I
work.
can agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. He fine. We
He was
really,
passionate.
yeah, he was passionate. All right. And then a pickle of the week. I'm gonna give it to Nate.
Nate?
Yeah, I just thought they didn't think that was smart.
I'm giving
I'm
mine
gonna give the
Phyllis.
pickles to the Winters. Oh,
Dang, the whole family?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mine is going to Phyllis. That
What?
scene with Billy when she was trying to convince him to let her work, basically like undercover, and he wouldn't listen. And she was like, "Whatever, Billy, whatever," and walked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then got mad because he decided to have a conversation with Sally. Like, girl, go somewhere, please.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Yeah, my pickle goes to Phyllis too, just because of what we talked about earlier. She should have moved a little. She should have moved in silence in her approach with her speculation on Sharon. She shouldn't have kept that to herself and did a little bit more work.
Gotcha. And then the new segment, who won the Simp Olympics this week? Man, everybody
no
quiet.
pickle- no
Y'all, we
pickle
were
of the
very
week?
vocal in the group chat.
No pickle of the week for Bold?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Okay. Yeah, pickle for Bold was... I got to give it to Brooke. That whole conversation, like Keith said earlier about nobody supporting her daughter. It's like, where are you seeing this at?
I feel like Brooke and Hope both live in an alternate reality. Because some of the stuff that comes out of their mouths, it's like, did I just not watch a scene previous to this where everybody was basically Team Hope?
Mm-hmm.
My pickle of the
I'm gonna
week
give it
goes
to
to
Deacon.
Deacon?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My pickle of the week goes to Hope because you put the brakes on the situation at this man's apartment, but you get to the office and you want to get down and dirty in the office when everybody is there. Even Eric was there just for the meeting. So I don't know. That's crazy. So I'm gonna give that to Hope.
Okay.
I think I agree with Bree. I'm gonna give my pickle to Deacon and Sheila both. First of all, the conversation he was having with Brooke, talking about maybe I need to go give Steffy a piece of my mind.
Right.
Like, if you don't sit your ass down somewhere and shut up, you of all people need to stay out of Steffi's face.
Right.
And then they gonna pull Sheila in on it. Like, you just tried to unalive this girl multiple times a couple years ago. You also need to shut up. That scene was so unnecessary.
Yeah, that was crazy. Trying to flex. Anyway, it didn't work. All right, now that last category.
This should be unanimous, by the way.
Yeah, Carter. I'm sorry. Sorry, Carter, but man.
Give them the name of the new segment again.
Who wins the Simp
He's
Olympics?
the simp of the week. Yay! Keep fucking talking.
Yeah, I know.
Did y'all just see Melissa Spencer's comment? She said J Money Hope don't need a pickle. She has Carter's.
Listen, again, this is Saturday morning, not Friday night. Y'all funny. All right, you guys. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm telling you. We'll see if they'll ever put them two in a full-blown segment, which they teased us yesterday. So, anyway.
They keep coming close to it.
Yeah, they get close. Right?
Getting blown out, T? Is that what you're saying?
What?
Full blown, as in her back getting blown out?
Oh, God, Jay.
Is that what you're saying?
Jay, yeah. Mm-hmm. You stupid. Oh, Lord, what a way to end the show, right? All right. All right, you guys, make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Stay tuned for the spoilers for the week of October 28th through November 1st. We're down to the last 2 months, and November sweeps start Thursday. If you haven't checked out the full, I want to say, well, they added more cast members to the new soap opera Beyond the Gates. I did post that information as well. And they pulled together different cast people from other shows. I think some of them came from BET and some of the other shows. Like, I think Queen Sugar was one of them and some of the other ones. So go check that out. I did post some things on that. And make sure you follow me on all of the other platforms. TikTok and here on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, and in the Facebook group. All right. Y'all got anything else before we in the show?
Nope.
Y'all good?
Yep. Thanks everybody for tuning in so early.
I know we did it. We had fun though. It was a lot of fun, and especially since we had almost the entire crew. We're still sending best wishes out to Trish as she's trying to take care of everything with her family. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye, Soapies.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Everyone have a good weekend.